Hi, everyone. I'm Dorothy Norris. I'll be chairing the meeting this morning, and I would like to have a call to order. Do we need to approve it, or just nope. Call to order? Shall we have approval of the January minutes?
Before we do that, can we just take a roll of all the commissioners who are present?
Okay, a roll call?
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to do an introduction or just a roll call?
We could just do a roll call.
Okay. Like I said, I'm Dorothy Norris. I'm co-chair of the Environmental Management Commission. Lee, you want to be next? Can you hear me, Lee?
Okay, yes, I can. Commissioner Lee McIntosh. I'm sorry, I don't remember which district. In Ka'u.
You're 6, Lee.
Okay, I'm District 6.
Thank you.
Okay, Dale. I'm sorry to cut you in the middle of drinking there. Dale, can you hear me? Dale, we can't hear you. You're muted. Can you turn up? No, you're still muted.
Sorry, having problems with the button. Dale, District 3, good morning.
Georgine, you're not officially here, but you're listening in. Georgine is our main chair.
Georgine's on mute.
Yeah, she's on mute too. I'm sorry, I can't.
Jim.
Good morning, Laura Ocasio, District 2.
Thank you. Jim Beats, please.
Yes, Jim Beats, I'm here, and I'm a new commissioner. I live in Pepeakeo.
District 1.
District 1.
Okay, cool.
And we have Erica.
Erica?
Good morning, aloha, Erica Perez, District 4.
And Victor, are you a guest or?
Yes.
Could you introduce yourself, please? You're on mute.
Okay. I'm on mute.
We can hear you. Oh, it's okay.
I still, you're broken up or?
Move on to item number 2.
I would like to know that he can hear us.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, statement from the chair or vice chair, I'm sorry.
Number 2, approval of the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Approval of the minutes, please. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes, and do you have any changes? Could I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve, Laura Ocasio.
Jim Beats, I second.
Okay, thank you.
Any discussion?
Any discussion on the minutes? Okay.
Take a vote.
Uh-huh.
Hearing none, we can take a vote. On the motion to approve the minutes, we have to take a vote.
Oh, approval of the minutes. Everyone say aye.
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 Thank you very much for your help.
7 ayes, Chair.
Yes.
Okay. Statement from the vice chair. Since we have resolved few comments regenerating from previous discussions on the general plan, it has been put aside for now. However, members can put in individual comments to the solid waste and the wastewater sections, but not as representatives of the commission, as individual members or individuals. If you review the plan on the website and you agree or disagree with the comments, please give a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and be sure to add a reason for liking or disliking those comments. I'm not sure, but I feel that the comments with the like-dislike confirmations will get a greater scrutiny from the planning department. We have kept the agenda small this month to give Mr. Mansour and his staff plenty of time to update us on the compliance agreement with the EPA and to give the time to address the questions that we have. Please keep comments short and civil. Do not address the person, just the problem or the issue. Public statements on agenda items. Moving on to the public agenda, public statements. 4, we had a really nice letter from Jennifer Navarra from the Zero Waste Hawaii in support of HB 1688 and SB 2368. Are there any other public statements? Okay, Chair recognizes Mr. Hughes.
Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, I'm sorry.
Aloha, I'm Steve Holmes, a former member of Honolulu City Council for 12 years. I spent a lot of time working on wastewater issues in Honolulu and very large consent decree that we were facing over there. And I think there's some lesson learned that the Big Island could take advantage of. The most important thing right now is the issue of financing. DEM has been underfinanced for years, and that's one of the reasons why we're facing these horrible conditions with our wastewater infrastructure island-wide. And we now have a new finance director. My understanding from Heather Kimball on the council is that she's taking a more liberal view on this idea of a wastewater enterprise fund. The EMC previously had approved the idea of wastewater enterprise fund. I actually wrote the ordinance for Honolulu. I brought it to council members to adopt it formally and frankly got nowhere. Hopefully now that it's written into this consent decree that you have to come up with a financing plan, DEM and the administration can work together to advance that sooner than later. None of this can get done without financial resources. You absolutely have to have those. So that's a good place to start. I know it gets overwhelming. When I talked to EPA, when they were putting the consent decree together, it was clear that just the rehabilitation of the collection system in Hilo was going to break the county's piggy bank. So you're looking at some very big costs. And one of the things you get with the Wastewater Enterprise Fund is a new source of revenue. Honolulu has a global consent decree, $3.5 billion worth of work. And the Wastewater Enterprise Fund has been successful in meeting the needs of all of the projects laid out in that consent decree for over a decade. And it's been highly successful. Once again, I urge DEM to continue to push the administration to get that adopted and in place. You badly need it. Thank you for your time today, and aloha and best wishes.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Chair online wishing to present testimony is Jennifer Navarra.
Jennifer, is she, did you?
Here.
Hi.
I don't know if you had maybe written testimony from last month. I did not submit written testimony for this meeting, just for everyone's awareness.
Got a letter in support of
Yeah, what I'm saying is I did not send that for this meeting. It was probably for a previous meeting. I didn't send testimony for this month's meeting.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to clarify.
Thank you.
It's not for this one. But I did want to speak to just some of the legislative update for the solid waste bills that are moving. I didn't get a chance to go through everything on the list that was posted on the agenda. But as far as I know, there's just 2 bills still likely. I mean, I guess there's a chance bills could be scheduled today, but I think like the 29th is kind of the deadline for bills to cross over. So there's that electric battery bill. Forgive me, I'm bad with the numbers. That one is scheduled for a hearing today at noon. And then there's the HB 1688, which is the solid waste, or I'm sorry, the packaging needs assessment bill, which is also scheduled for a hearing today. So likely not many other solid waste bills unless they get scheduled. We'll continue to move this session. So just I also am part of the HECA, which is the Hawaii Environmental Change Agents group, which I do my legislative work as. So I'm kind of wearing that hat today. I know there has been some concerns of the packaging waste needs assessment bill. I just wanted to share that the Department of Health was a part of drafting that bill and is well aware of the work that they're doing as a part of the Swiffer grant that they got, which is to do an updated integrated solid waste management plan for the state. And so there's not necessarily overlap between those 2 endeavors. They're more of a complement to each other rather than repetition. Also, the bill was amended, 1688 was amended to include an advisory council, for better or worse. We'll see. So we'll see if this bill continues to move. It's kind of sad to see so many bills kind of dropping off. But I think it's important that there is support from the counties for these measures and advocates and everyone, but it's hard for us, I know, because we don't necessarily have the time to show up and submit testimony or submit written testimony. So those are my updates, and forgive me if I missed any of the solid waste bills that still do have hearings. I didn't have a chance to look at every single bill on the list. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Yeah.
Any other public testimony?
Any other public testimony? Victor, did you have any comments? Okay.
No.
Hey, we can hear you now.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I don't.
Yeah, okay, thank you. All right. Sorry. New business. We're going to move on to new business then. Okay. Adoption of a reinstatement of positions regarding the active legislation pending in the 2024 session of the state legislature to recommend to the mayor, council, or DM. Do we need to send a statement? I want to thank you, Peter, for keeping us up to date on all the legislature statuses, and thank you for doing that. Oh, and unless we agree, we cannot put out any kind of recommendation, is that right, as a commission, but we can give individual feedback on any of the bills presented, right?
That's correct. To the state legislature.
To the state
EMC
legislature.
does not have jurisdiction within the charter or within the county code to be submitting written testimony as an entity to the state legislature. You have a jurisdiction to do so to the county, which means that you can either write a letter to the department encouraging them to submit a letter to the state legislature, the mayor, and or the county council. But as an entity, you are not permitted to be writing into the state legislature. So I apologize if I caused any confusion last month when we were discussing that, but that is where your jurisdiction is. You are to advise the department on solid waste and wastewater programs and provide comments and recommendations on these matters to the council. And so that is interpreted to mean to the county and not to the state. Thank you.
Okay.
But I do encourage, and you are permitted to do so as individuals, but not in your official capacity as the EMC. You can write that you are a commissioner on the EMC, you know, here on County of Hawai'i.
In the comments?
But you're not speaking on behalf of the EMC.
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay.
If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer or clarify.
Well,
Erica Perez.
go ahead. Go ahead, Erica.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. That really actually helps me. I think I know I contacted Peter regarding that just because I'm interested as to why we weren't tracking cesspool regulation. So that actually makes a lot of sense. I would love to know how we would officially vote or what we would officially do to get letters of recommendation to the mayor and to our county councils to support those state initiatives while they have a huge impact on how we as a county move forward with something that you know is technically kind of umbrellaed locally here at the county level. I'm just if we does it require a vote, I guess is my question. You mentioned, Sherilyn, that we could request that the mayor support those initiatives.
Yes.
And to do so, does that require a vote?
Yes, that requires a motion, and we can do that now here under this agenda item. But essentially someone would need to draft that letter that would be presented on behalf of the EMC. A vote needs to be taken on that position, and then the EMC as a body can provide that information to the council or the mayor. So essentially similar to what happened last month with a little more clarity, and someone again taking up the responsibility to draft that letter with, you know, I think it should be basic because you all have maybe little different tidbits about what you want specifically to be included or excluded, but just that if the EMC is supporting a certain type of legislation, that can be made clear in that letter and encourage, you know, that support to come from the administration or the council.
Okay. And so this would be the appropriate agenda item to make such a motion for either solid waste or wastewater, or is it just solid waste at this time?
For anything that falls within your jurisdiction, and since that is Department of Environmental Management, it encompasses both wastewater as well as solid waste and the recycling programs and everything else that falls under DEM.
Okay. Can I make a motion? I've never made a motion.
Sure.
I would like to make a motion to have the DEM draft letters of support or draft requests to our mayor for supporting cesspool transition state legislation.
Is that a good motion?
Is that an appropriate way to say that?
No, just for clarification, EMC can draft, EMC needs to draft a letter to send to DEM, not ask DEM to send it on behalf of you, but EMC can provide the content of what you want to have the department, you know, the administration or council to be supporting. and maybe provide a couple of bullet points as to what specifically you folks are interested in them following and being supportive or opposed to, whatever that position is. A little more clarity, not to just say, we want you folks to write a letter about this, because then you don't have any clarity as to what the content of that letter will be. And so I would advise you folks to be more specific about it. You know, specific legislation that is going on that Peter has provided the information for, and just say, you know, EMC strongly supports blah, 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 fill in the blank. Or EMC opposes this legislation, and present it that way.
Okay.
Because they can attach the letter that they received from you to any input that they provide as well, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the first step is what? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to.
You're totally fine.
Learn. So
the first step is you make a motion, but the motion is for EMC to send a letter advising, encouraging the department, or, you know, encouraging the administration to support or oppose whatever specific legislation it is that you folks want them to take action on.
So the first step is to draft the letter and to get our points into that letter to the mayor or the council.
Well, the first step would be to determine what it is that you folks want in the content of that letter.
Yes.
And then someone needs to draft that letter,
okay.
Which should be pretty simple and not take, it shouldn't and can't, because of the time constraints, take 4 months to do. So we would like to have the administration support bill on, I'm not going to fill in the blank for you guys, but whatever it is. And we can do
because
that.
Of these points.
Correct.
Okay. What points do we, oh, I'm sorry. Jim, would you like to, and then Del?
There's no motion that's been made, recognized, or seconded.
Correct.
Not at this point in time?
Still clarifying,
okay.
Yeah.
Jim?
Yes, I just missed what Peter said. Could he repeat, Peter, could you repeat that, please?
Peter, sir, Secretary, I was just saying that we do not have a motion that is made, recognized, and seconded yet. So we're in the pre-discussion phase of such motion.
Right, thank you. And my question was about previously, and I really also appreciate the clarification. My question, I think my understanding of what was said previously is, as a commissioner, I can write a letter of support as a citizen, and can I mention that I'm a commissioner? Did I understand that correctly? I just can't, I can't state that the EMC supports it.
That is correct.
Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
You cannot speak on behalf of the entire commission, but indicating what your current position is, that is not a problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Del? You're still muted.
Okay, in reference to what Erica had mentioned about coming up to make a motion regarding, I forget, but my point is, as commissioners and the Sunshine Law, it prohibits us from, you know, having meaningful discussions so that we can gather whatever information from us to bring to the meeting and make it, how you say, collaborate. I mean, not so that we're going to affect anybody's vote for anything, but in order to have a meaningful discussion on the topic, we need to talk about it. I mean, we come from different perspectives. So I think it's important that we get to meet. And it's like, I keep thinking the Sunshine Law prohibits us to have gainful or meaningful discussion because we only meet once a month and it's only for 3 hours at the most. And so we cannot even come to any agreement or any discussion on the topic so that we can at least write a letter of what we need to write, because we can't talk about it, you know,
That's what
except at the meetings.
right now. That's what you folks are permitted to do right now.
Right, but see, so when Erica brought it up, how much time do we, each of us, have to put in or contribute to that discussion or that topic for
Maybe
us to move on?
Maybe
for us to move on to the next step. And
maybe for clarification, I can just emphasize that the letter that's coming from EMC should not, or likely at this point cannot be so comprehensive that you're gonna, you know, hash out and basically present an entire brief, you know, to the mayor or to the council about it. It needs to be pretty general. That is the reason why you individually can address all of your points or what you want to do individually to these different, you know, even to the state legislature. But you cannot, these things have been on the agenda, and, you know, you come here with having researched and taken a position on certain things, and that's what you'll address and discuss, which is why I'm encouraging that it be a pretty general letter. Should you folks decide that that's even what you want to do it as the entire EMC, but it has to be pretty general. And that's why Peter has been giving you folks updates of what's been moving along and things. And so you come here with the hope that you can state what your thoughts are and your position is, and that other commissioners feel the same, and you can come to a general agreement as to what you want to put forward. But it's not going to be a 10-page brief about specifics and rewriting the legislation. That is not, you know, what you should be doing.
so then we just, thank you for that. So we're just gonna mention our concerns. We're not gonna discuss it really thoroughly, just a general idea on what we want to talk about, and then submit it to the council or the legislature, and then wait back for that response, and then meet again, and then continue that process.
I think, I'm sorry, I'm going to step in here. I think what we need to do is just look at the bill and say, what do we agree with? And
okay.
Send a letter of support for that. Lee, do you have any comments?
Yeah, so this is Commissioner McIntosh. So we can only in the letter, we can only talk about, I know generally, I understand what you're trying to say, that we can write about, but we can only address current legislation. We can't say like, we would like the mayor or the council to request or support funding or additional funding or grants to help people cover the cost for cesspool conversion.
You can.
Also, okay. And my other, the other thing I wanted to say is that the cesspool conversion is state law. We have to do it regardless. So the mayor and the council, whether they support it or not, they're going to do it. So I don't really see the point of sending a general letter that just says, you know, asking them to support the cesspool conversion. Rather, we should be looking more towards, you know, we need more funding, or we need more time, or don't enforce fees if you know, takes you longer than 20. I think last night they mentioned there was a bill, they wanted to start charging people fees or fines in 2025 if you haven't converted yet. Well, I mean, people don't have money, so we gotta figure something out. So those are my concerns.
Erica?
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
I lowered my hand and didn't unmute myself. Apologies. Are the special kind of, I think they're called pigs. I really dislike the name of the acronym, but are those also allowed at the EMC to, like, if we end up finding out and discovering that we do want to dive more into recommendations to our county, even possibly outside of the legislative session, but just how our county alone can move forward with cesspool transition? Is that something that we could potentially vote on to find interested committee members to have a focused discussion on? And then what would be the process to do that if it is allowed?
So yes, a permitted interaction group is allowed. EMC has had them many times. And essentially what needs to happen to establish one is there needs to be a motion. A second, we need to determine who those individuals are going to be that participates. It has to be less than quorum. And you'll be assigned a specific task. If it is to, you know, research and report back on cesspool conversions, for example, taking the lead off of what you just said, then those members of that permitted interaction group will do that and present a report to the EMC and make a recommendation at the next agendized meeting or thereafter when it is the time frame of the permitted interaction group, whatever is set up. Then that group would come back and present it and make a recommendation, you know, presumably with a written report of what your findings were. And that is exactly what will allow you to have these type of quote unquote meaningful discussions outside of a meeting so that you can bring back the information and essentially do something substantial, concrete that you can move forward with. So again, that is something you have the authority to do, but it requires a motion, the selection of those members and the specific topic that you are being assigned to research and present on.
Do we have an motion then to formulate a?
I think maybe we should address first take a motion. Does the EMC even want to send a letter at this point as the EMC to either the mayor, council, and or DEM?
Regarding what? Regarding the cesspools or the?
I think we should stick to what's on the agenda first, which is the current status of matters before the state legislature. Right, but it's EMC sending the letter to either the mayor, council, and or to send it to all three entities, DEM, about the position of EMC on the pending legislation. But you have to specify which ones it is that you are either supporting or opposing.
Okay.
So, I mean, does everyone agree that a letter should be sent, should be the first motion?
Yes.
Because I would love to just get a feel of like answering Sherilyn's question. I would very much, just out of full transparency, support a permanent interaction group specifically focused on cesspool conversion. Our county has the very most cesspools out of the entire state. It is a state initiative and law to convert them. And I think that, I mean, I know from I would support that. And so if others would support it, I would be happy to make a motion.
Okay, but first I think we need to deal with the agenda item, which is whether or not, and Erica, yes, that can definitely be done and we can do that today. But first we need to address whether or not EMC wants to draft a letter to send regarding current legislation to the mayor, council, or DEM. I think that's step one.
Okay,
because
that's it.
We're not going to be able to create a pig today, get everything done, make a report, and submit some kind of thing before the session ends. That's likely not going to happen. So realistically, does EMC want to send anything right now to the mayor, council, or DEM regarding anything that's currently pending at the state legislature? So
what you're saying is that we first have to make the motion to
do you want to draft the letter?
Do we want to do this or not?
Yes.
Okay.
For current state legislation.
to the current state legislature. Do we have you want me to make the motion?
No, you can't. Somebody else needs to.
Oh, I can't. Somebody make a motion, please. Anybody?
Erica, you're on mute.
Now I'm nervous to make a motion. Okay, so I will make a motion to have EMC draft a letter to our admin to encourage them to support cesspool bills that are currently in the legislative session right now.
Okay.
Is that right?
We have a second.
And I second it.
Okay.
I second it.
Okay, shall we take a vote? Discussion? Any discussion on this? Lee?
This is Commissioner McIntosh. I would have to look through the bills real quick again, but just generally looking at them, I wouldn't support generally a blanket support for all bills before the legislature. So I know last time I was sick, so I didn't really go into detail about why I didn't support a vote I made. So I was just being a little more informative this time. So yeah, I wouldn't support a letter like that.
Well, the letter would state whether you supported or the group either supported or did not like a certain bill. So your concerns could be put into the letter. Is that correct?
Well, no.
No.
That's
okay.
what individual testimony is for, which I encourage because as I previously mentioned, you all have different bits and pieces that, you know, reflect your thoughts on it based on your community and your experiences. And I would encourage individually to write in, you know, it's much more impactful, I think, than just a general letter. As what Lee is indicating, because if you vote, it's saying EMC supports this. It's not EMC supports this, and we're going to pick apart the entire bill. That's where it gets very complicated and why I encourage individual testimony.
All right. So do we have a second on the motion or?
They'll provide it.
They'll provided it?
Yep.
Okay. Can we have a vote on it then?
Is there
any further discussion on this? Jim?
Yes, I believe I heard that a specific bill has to be mentioned. Is that correct? If we're sending this letter to administration or to DEM?
That's correct.
I think it would be helpful, but at the same time, like I mentioned, it's very difficult for you all to agree on the specific content of a bill. So something more generalized, like EMC supports, you know, cesspool, I don't even know what the right adjective would be, but appropriate, proper, I don't, meaningful cesspool conversion legislation or something like that. It needs to be pretty generic about it. But again, if we have a majority vote, that's what EMC's position would be. And I'm not sure you all agree on that.
Well, I personally have a little bit of concern not knowing what we're supporting in a specific bill. And that's because if a new bill was, or there was a bill that was amended that said, let's exclude cesspool conversion, then I certainly don't support that. So I think I need to be clear on what bill we're supporting personally.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Sorry. Would the maker of the motion wish to amend her motion to be more specific as to the content of the cesspool bills that EMC may be supporting?
Yes. I think that I'm trying to go and look for actual numbers right now. One immediate action that, man, okay, hold on. It's regarding the timeline of conversion in expediting the timeline in which conversion is mandated in priority 1 areas.
That would be HB 1892.
I'm not quite there yet. I'm sorry. I'm rushing to the state database right now because it is listed.
House Bill HB 1892 HD1 Part 2 requires certain priority level 1 cesspools to be upgraded, converted, or connected before 1/1/2035, and priority 2 cesspools to be upgraded, converted, or connected before 1/1/2040, rather than before January 1st, 2050.
Yes.
In other words, it moves up the schedule.
Mm-hmm. And if we could even start there, that would be fantastic. So can I how do I do it? I'll rephrase my motion, or I'll edit my motion and include that bill.
Del, do you still second that motion?
Is she gonna amend the motion?
Just did.
She just did.
Okay, so I do support it. Yes, I'll second it still.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any changes? Do we have a vote then?
Yep.
So
Okay.
the motion will
Please read the motion.
EMC to draft letter to administration to specifically including to support cesspool bills in the legislature, specifically including House Bill 1892 and the deadlines. Okay. Ready for the votes?
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Ocasio?
You're muted.
Yes.
Aye. Mr. Beats?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Garcia absent. Mr. McIntosh?
Nay.
Ms. Otsuka?
Aye.
Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Vice Chair Norris?
Aye.
Adams? Absent. Chair, you have 5 ayes.
So the motion is carried. Do we need to specify who drafts or to set up a committee to?
It's just going to basically be what the motion just was. Very plain. I would encourage you to ask Erica if she would just write that up and
Okay.
provide
Erica,
it to
are
Peter
you?
to put on letterhead? So
He's shaking her head. Yes. Please say yes.
When should I get that to you? Tomorrow? Today? Right now?
Whenever you can.
I'll get it to them.
Okay, thank you. Okay, have we addressed that completely? There was a, I'm sorry, I'm moving on to agenda number 6. There was a correspondence with Wilson Okamoto Corporation dated January 23rd, 2024 regarding the notice of availability for the Hilo wastewater treatment plant rehabilitation and replacement project. Has anybody had a chance to review and to have any comments on this? Lee?
Actually, yeah, I looked at it. But I was raising my hand to ask that Commissioner Perez had mentioned a pig. We're going to address that later or now?
I think it would be appropriate to address it in agenda item 7.1.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have any other comments on the correspondence for the kilo treatment plant? Go ahead.
I tried to look at the PDF that the letter mentioned and it says no file found, so, but it's past the date, so I guess they removed it.
Chair, it's there now, but it wasn't there previously.
Is it there now? Yes, I had problems finding that letter as well. Yeah.
You see it there?
Yeah, that's the letter. And did you?
Well, I found the letter. I was referring to the document that the letter referenced.
Yes.
That was what I couldn't find.
If we do it now, it will appear. Is that correct? If we click on it now? Okay. Encourage everybody to review the document. And if you have any comments on it, please bring them back for the next meeting.
Well, essentially what this is Wilson Okamoto prepared a draft environmental assessment with regards to the Hilo wastewater treatment plant. And as required by statute, it is posted for public comment period for 30 days. That period ended on February 22nd. But if anyone has something that they feel is so important, then you should reach out to, I would reach out to DEM right away because the public comment period that's posted on the website has ended on February 22nd.
Okay.
But essentially what is required when an EA is done is that it's posted so that notice goes out. I'm not sure if everyone subscribes to the environmental notice, but it comes out once a month and provides information about statewide EAs or other environmental things that are being requested from all different entities statewide. And that's where the notice comes from, and anyone is permitted to provide comment. It's a very short window and normally not one that offers sufficient time for EMC to have a meeting and discuss it, but an EA is very detailed document that I think, again, individual comment, if there are concerns about any aspects of it, should be done through that appropriate channel. So there's not really anything to carry over to another agenda about it. This was just notifying you folks that the draft EA was done and the public comment essentially has passed. But this is the stage that we're at with regards to the Hilo wastewater treatment facility.
Okay, but since it's already, the public comment has already expired, can we do comments individually or no?
It's done.
It's done, so.
This was just to provide
us information.
The EMC with notice about what the status is and where we're at in the process.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not for any action.
Okay, Del.
So I'm a little bit confused, rightfully so, but so when you said the public comment ended on the 22nd, does that include these public meetings that they're having, or is that about the same thing? Because they still have one tonight in Kohala, I believe. So is that two different public notices or public?
Two completely different things.
About the same thing though, on the cesspool?
No. This is about the Hilo wastewater treatment rehabilitation environmental assessment. That's all that this letter is about. Per statute, the draft EA is required to be posted for public comment for a period of 30 days.
30 days.
That's what this letter just was notifying basically everyone that the draft EA is posted. If you want to review it and provide comment, now's your chance. But essentially,
And that ended on the 22nd.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
all
thank you.
this is.
Okay.
EMC does not have authority per se to I'll just withdraw that. I see Laura has a question or a statement.
I just was wondering if I missed it from our last meeting, and why wouldn't this have been put on the last meeting for notification when it was time rather than after the fact?
So this posting, and again, I would encourage you, as is indicated on this letter, to subscribe to the environmental notice, because once a month they put this notice up. The agenda was created and finalized for a January meeting on January 18th, but this didn't get posted until January 23rd. And so essentially it would be individually something that you would choose to follow. If you so choose to receive this, you can sign up for their email list. They'll send it to you every month and give you an opportunity to provide public comment about the draft EA that was done in this case by Wilson Okamoto for our Hilo wastewater treatment plant.
Thank you for clarification on the dates. That makes sense. Thank you.
So this is this letter is just for information?
Yes,
okay.
That's it.
And no discussion. Okay.
Well, we've had one, but it's not anything that EMC can take action on.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other comments? Okay. I'll move on to the next agenda item, which is the reports from the meetings. The wastewater infrastructure meetings that were held in West Hawaii on February 13th. Georgine, do you have the comments for Georgine, or?
Georgine is not here.
She's not here anymore. Did you? I did not print it out or anything, so.
You can just orally indicate what the meeting was and.
Well, essentially, pursuant to HRS 92-2.5E, I am filing this notice of a report of attendance to the wastewater infrastructure and cesspool conversion public engagement on Tuesday, February 13th, 2024 in Kailua Kona. The matters discussed that related to the board business were cesspool conversion plans. Much of the content has already been published in the plan, and the purpose of the meeting was to inform the public of the options for cesspool conversion and to get the concerns and comments from the attendees. Ramsey did address the financial options and notified the attendees of possible grants and other financial assistance for those who require it. Georgine and I didn't discuss the content of the public opinions between ourselves. Any? Okay. Nobody has any? Oh, there's Georgine. Hi. Did you want to read?
I'm here. I'm at the airport. You don't want to listen to all this racket. Yeah, we didn't talk to each other. I didn't even know you were at the meeting till the very end.
Okay. You have you have your report? Or no, you don't have your report?
I didn't actually make a report. I mean, if you wanted to describe the meeting, you could, but I think it's better to hear from DEM what they're doing at those meetings. And I think Laura went to one. So,
all right.
And like I said, I'm at the airport. You don't want to hear this racket.
Okay.
Ramsey can get to it in this part, but
That's sufficient.
Okay.
You can
And
move on to C.
we get some comments from Laura and Dell and Erica.
I'm happy to mention also that we were at the meeting sitting very far apart, and I didn't also see Erica Perez until the very end. And there was no discussion had. It was an informational meeting with public testimony, and I felt it was important for me to be there, not only as a community member, but as a commissioner, just to be paying attention to the details of what DEM is sharing around cesspools and the options and conversions, and also the public input. That was very important. Thank you.
Okay, Dell.
Hi. I wish I had known that it was going to be required of me to provide some kind of report, because I went more as a resident of Kilkaha, which is heavily impacted by this sewer for decades. So that was mine, and the financing behind these conversions for this district, or the whole district, or the whole island. So it doesn't, you know, for me, it sounded, you know, presentations are done so that it's very convincing. And so I take it for that. But, you know, the truth of it is, when you get down to talking to the different people in the community, it's very difficult to make it a reality for them, and to almost like threaten them that they need to pay for a service they don't yet have, or anticipate, you know, payments is kind of stressful. So I think more needs to be said and done, and hopefully more resolutions toward financing becomes, you know, I don't know, better discussed. That's kind of it. Thank you.
Okay. Erica?
We don't really have anything to add more than what's already been said. No discussion was had by any lawyer, and I just went as to learn about the process and hear the update.
Perfect. That's all that's required for this statute, is just that you note your participation because there were multiple members that attended, and that's it. There's no formal report that is required. Just acknowledge your participation and, you know, why you went there, and if there was anything you felt that was so riveting that you wanted to share with the rest of EMC, you could have done so, but that's it. So we can move on to the next agenda item.
Okay, does Lee have something to add?
Yeah, in the spirit of all this, I wanted to point out I was also attending the meeting in Naalehu last night.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Is there anything riveting you want to share, Lee? Because that would be the extent of it.
No, it's just informational. County just telling us what we already knew.
Thank you.
Okay. I guess we'll move on to the director's informational report. Do we have Ramsey on the line or anything? Or do we want to take a break? Hi.
I don't know if you guys want to take a break. You guys want to break, or you want to continue?
Do you want to take a break, anybody? No? Are we good? I think we're good.
Good. All right. Thank you, Dorothy. As far as the director's report, I have probably a few of my staff as well. They probably cover their portion of the report. So the idea is, I kind of heard about the meetings and the attendance. So we could go through the agenda, I guess, the legislative update. Item number 1, Res 441-24. That's about the countywide AOC. Dorothy, I heard you at the beginning of the meeting. You guys may have questions and concerns. Hopefully you all have seen the presentation to the committee members last week. about the countywide AOC that we received from EPA, and we're in the process of finalizing. So I think it's going to County Council on March. But is there any questions that I could entertain to answer from committee members?
Just looking at, I read it, the whole thing. And it seems like there's a lot in here that is already underway. Is that correct, as far as the consent infrastructure and cesspool?
That is correct, Dorothy.
So it's a little bit redundant in that. Any other, does anybody else have any comments on the consent decree? Has everybody had a chance to review it? Okay. Is there any discussion on it?
All right, seemed like everybody on board, so we could move to item number 2, legislature update. Oh, Laura, you need.
Commissioner Beats had a question.
Oh.
I also just have a quick comment after.
Okay.
Beats?
Yes, I didn't know whether I was muted or not. I'm not exactly clear on the next step. Maybe that's going to be presented later on the consent decree and the next step. Were you going to cover that, Ramsey?
It's administrative order on consent. It's different than consent decree. There's a difference between both. So we submitted it, we presented it to the county. We will submit it to county council, I think in March. Peter, do you know the date on March?
Okay.
When it's going to be presented? I think it's scheduled for March.
First Wednesday in March, whatever that will be. 6.
Okay. So we will be back to county council if, for that item. So once county council approves it, the committee approved it 7-7. 2 committee members were out that day, but we got 7 votes of the 7 members attended and supported the countywide AOC. So it's going back to county council for final approval and read. Once it's approved, then it goes to the mayor for signature. And after that, it goes to EPA for signature. Once EPA execute and sign, it becomes effective immediately on the commitment that the county was agreed on. So Jim, hopefully that answered your question.
Yes, yes, it did. I guess my question next is, to our commission, and that is, if we have additional comments, can we provide those?
You could provide comments. That's what we're here for, to discuss. If you have questions and comments, I could address them today. If not, you could always, as Sherry said, you could either submit testimony during the hearing to county council, or you could object or agree. It's on March 6th when that item gets on the agenda.
Thank you. That clarifies it.
Thank you, Jim.
This is Commissioner McIntosh. I just have a question. The EPA is a federal agency, so I mean, it's kind of implied the county doesn't have really much leeway in supporting it or not. So is it even possible for the county not to vote to support it? I mean, it's just kind of like a given the county has to do this, correct? Whatever it is.
Yeah, that question came up by one of the county committee members, and our corporation counsel answered it well. If we don't support it, then we find ourselves in federal court. So you either go to court and be enforced by the judge or agree to the term and negotiate the term that could fit both parties. And I think that's what we did. We were in negotiation with EPA. We feel comfortable about you know, the terms. As Dorothy has mentioned, we pretty much every item we ahead of the game on delivery. So as we were negotiating, we were also working on the items to deliver. So we feel good about it. But I think it was clear by corporation counsel if it, I mean, yeah, they could vote no, but it's going to end up being in the federal court.
I just wanted to say that there was one error that I noticed on there, that the PUA force main is being constructed before the bid goes out, and that doesn't seem logical to me. And I also noticed that you have a critical infrastructure need to repair rank list due on July 30th. Is that correct?
Which item is that, Dorothy?
Let's see. Which item was it? PUA, the PUA force main.
That's not the AOC you're looking at.
She may be looking at Appendix 1 within the AOC.
Yeah, Appendix 1.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I am looking at the wrong one. I'm not looking at the appendix, but it would be the PUA force main. The deadlines for that were switched. Probably should have been the construction on the force main should begin on the July 2031. Is that correct?
No. I'm looking at the schedule right now. So the PUA invitation to bid documents will be complete on January 2026, and then it will go out to construction 6 months later.
Okay, so it specifies that the 28th is the bid. I'm sorry, December 28th is the bid period for the force main. And then the construction will begin on the 31st, I'm sorry, July 1st, 2031, is that correct?
No, that's when construction will be complete. So the invitation to bid will be, the documents will be complete by the county. It'll go out to bid January 2026. And then construction will start July 2026, 6 months after the bid documents are complete.
Are we talking about the force main or the?
Yes, PUA force main.
Okay, I'll correct my spreadsheet here because it seems to be wrong.
Well, is it your spreadsheet or is it Appendix 1?
It's my spreadsheet. Yeah, I just went through the appendix and tried to figure out, you know, what your timeline was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives us a chance to double check that appendix because, yeah, I pulled up a version and it says issue invitation for bid for construction by December 28th, 2030. And then begin construction July 1st, 2030.
Yeah.
So, yeah, give us a chance to double check that.
Okay. Jim, did you have a comment? You have your hand raised.
Yes, you know, just quick clarification because I'm slowly learning some of this and I wanted to share to make sure that others do as well. So with the present administrative consent decree, my understanding is if the Hawaii government fails to support that, then it can go to a judicial consent decree initiated by EPA very rapidly. And that's my understanding. That means it's it's out of the hands of the Hawaii government at that point and in the judiciary. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're correct, Jim. You're correct. So essentially the agreement that DEM has been working with the EPA that is memorialized in this document is something that the county had a lot of influence in with regards to the timelines, the projects, and the completion of those projects. But if this does not get approved, then essentially, yes, the EPA can go to a court and they can get a judicial decree that is forcing us to do all of this stuff with the potential of hefty fines hanging over our head and being on their timeline. So Ramsey and his staff did an amazing job with computing all the time, you know, and getting the money committed by the county, assuming that the council votes to approve this and the mayor is authorized to sign this agreement. That is essentially, as they mentioned during the council hearing, taking the politics out of it and forcing these commitments to be done to our aging infrastructure. So that is what DEM has been working on and working really hard on getting to this point. And so it is to avoid essentially the court ordering us to do something.
Yes, and thank you. And thank you, Ramsey. So my question is, are all the council members clearly aware that that could happen really quickly?
Council members, you meaning the county council?
Yes.
I think that was expressed to them, what they took from that. I'm not 100% sure. But essentially that is the message in the presentation that Kelly and Ramsey did before the council and what was, you know, really expressed to them. And I believe they got the message and they're appreciative of all the work that DEM has put into this, and they see the bigger picture because obviously it's going to go beyond all of their current terms. But it's something that the county needs to address, and they're making that commitment to doing so.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Laura, did you have a comment?
Yes, I just wanted to thank Ramsey, director, and the DEM for all their work in this, because this is something that we prioritized in our Senate office in 2021 and worked with Kai Kahele as congressman very extensively with multi-agency meetings, and including visiting multiple times to the wastewater treatment facility with Director Ramsey, and so much cooperation amongst county officials and state, especially also in the Mayor Roth's administration. So just wanted to mahalo you folks, because it's been a long time coming, really. We knew about this order on consent from 2021 at that time when we toured the facility with EPA. So thank you so much for your diligence, and we just have to keep working forward. So support from me as a commissioner, as well as from State Senate. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other comments on the consent decree? Okay. Shall we move on to the legislation update?
Yeah, I heard some discussion about some of the bills that before the Senate and the House this year. There is a few that a lot actually about cesspool, and it seemed like all of them have already passed through their finance, their environmental, water, and land and finance. So, which is a good sign. You guys could track these bills as well if you have the web access to the website. Peter does a good job of providing legislative update on Excel sheets that pertain to our department, to the state when it comes to solid waste and wastewater. So to your earlier concern about cesspools and solid waste, we do track it. We do submit testimonies, and we do support any legislation that could enhance the groundwater and the shoreline. So, you know, and you guys also could have the same access as well. And any question about legislative updates? Is there any particular bill that you guys have a question about? I don't know, Peter, you could share with the commissioner, I guess, the same tracking mechanism that we use to track these bills.
Okay, give me a second since I wasn't set up for that.
You have passed the timeline to everyone?
Not to everyone, but I can put it up online.
Okay.
Yeah, you could put it online, Peter, just to give commissioner status on these cesspool bills. Because it seemed like there was confusion earlier about, you know, there is a bunch of bills, here it is. So maybe that could address Erica's and everyone concerned about tracking these cesspools. But we have been, and you could read where each bill stands, you know, what committee has approved it and what committee has declined it and what have you. So maybe that will give you guys a better tool, because it seemed like the discussion earlier about these bills was not clear to me from commissioners. But that way you know where the department stands, and you guys could, you know, submit your own testimony as well, as Sherry said. So
the large column is the department's stand is on that second, right after the details.
Some of them have support. Yep.
Yeah.
So we have supported the deadlines.
So you like I said, you all could access it and you all could submit your own.
Could you zoom into that?
What parts?
I'm sorry, I don't know if my hand can be seen, but I just wanted to say thank you, Ramsey. I track all of these bills on the legislative website also. I just wanted to make it streamlined for at least the letter, because I do feel that we're going to need more discussion of just around some of these more technical bills that are presented this year.
Yes, and I think maybe a recommendation starting maybe next year, probably early involvement with the author of these bills. Because sometimes, you know, it depends who's going to author the bill. And sometimes we just see it at the end of the year where, okay, you know, we submitting this, we need your support. Some they call, some they don't call. So yeah, it's a great question, Erica. I think it's that continuous involvement with our elected official on what's coming in down the pipe, so we all be on board as well.
I noticed that HB 1972 and HB 1688 will be in the finance. Is that the finance department?
Yeah, FIN is stand for finance.
They'll be discussing that today at 12 o'clock. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that a video conference that we can look into, or?
Yep. It's
Okay.
on Zoom, on YouTube.
On Zoom? Okay.
It's not on Zoom, on YouTube.
Oh, on YouTube. Okay. Anybody else have any other comments on the legislature updates? Okay, can we move on to second part of the director's informational report on recycling, green waste, and landfill diversion?
Yes, I think we have Craig as well signed up, but just as far as I also heard some discussion about that operational study that we're doing and reviewing it. Just our consultant is working on the current, analyzing the current solid waste operation first, they're looking at our facilities, the current operation, the finance, and limitations. So hopefully once we complete these analysis, we'll have a better idea of sitting down and possibly presenting it to also, it's going to be presented to our public for public engagement as well, because this is going to trigger policies and procedure possibly. You know, we're looking at the possibilities of avoiding getting on the highway and transporting waste from east to west, and different options that could reduce carbon emission and get us a better operation moving forward. So also curbside collection will be looked at, the possibility of that as well. So hopefully that could address the earlier question that was talked about. Craig, is Craig online?
Yep.
Okay. You want to get update on item number 1 from Solid Waste Division?
So this is where we go over the spreadsheet, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can ask if anyone has questions on the spreadsheet that you provided. Does anyone have questions for Craig about the information that he provided?
George Jean mentioned that, are you going to update slides in that presentation or no?
Right. No, not at this meeting.
Okay.
I think it was just a spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
This one should be in your.
Oh, that. All right. Sorry.
I'm so sorry. What spreadsheet?
So it's the one that has the different boxes. It's blue and green and a salmon orange.
$1 camera.
Huh?
$1 camera.
Yeah, I know.
This one. Craig prepared that for you folks.
It was in your packet that Peter sent out.
It was?
Thanks for the color coordination and it looks really good, Craig.
Thanks.
Can you put it up or no?
Does anyone have questions on it? If not, we can move on to the next agenda item. Or do you guys need to review it still?
We could take a break while you review it. Is that allowed?
You're in charge.
Let's take a break and we can review that document and we'll come back to you soon, okay? About 5 minutes? How many?
5-minute break.
Welcome back. Did everybody get a chance to review the spreadsheet? Is there any comments on the spreadsheet? I guess we'll move on to the next agenda item then, the wastewater division projects and updates.
All right.
Solid waste operational study.
Oh, the solid waste, we missed that one, didn't we? Solid waste operational study.
Yes, Shalice, are you online?
Yes, I'm online.
All right, go for it.
Hello, everyone. Just a quick update on the solid waste operational study. We are 100% complete with our phase 1 data gathering and review. We are 90% complete with our phase 2 documentation of the current facilities, programs, and interviews. The 10% that's left is we have about 7 or 8 interviews remaining between some private entities for curbside pickup, as well as interviewing Maui and Honolulu. And we have started phase 3, the data analysis and recommendations. When I say we, E2 is in the process of that. So that's a quick update of the solid waste operational facility analysis.
Oh,
thank you, Shalice. Any question to the solid waste operational study?
Awesome.
okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Oh, Erica has her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Erica has a comment.
I just had a quick clarifying question. Again, I'm trying to learn this process, so this may not even be the appropriate time to ask, but we were also, how does this study, or does it at all, combine with, because does it answer questions that are being proposed in bills that are at the ledge right now? So we had a number of conversations that were around environmental responsibility, producer responsibility bill. And I thoroughly read that when we were having conversations of how and if the EMC were to support that bill, that really went into a whole bunch of studies that, in my very new looking at solid waste mind, seemed valuable. But then also hearing about these types of studies, it almost seemed duplicative. And so I just wanted clarity of, are these studies duplicative to what is being, in connecting the dots, duplicative into efforts that is outlined in one of the legislative bills regarding primary producer responsibility?
No, it's not. This is only restrictive to the County of Hawai'i existing current solid waste operations. So it analyzes our 20+ transfer station, the current landfill, the closed landfill, the transportation of waste. So we're looking at how we could evaluate our current solid waste operation and do improvement on it as we move forward to make it more efficient. So we're gonna look at the diversion and recycling, but not to the level of detail where we're gonna analyze every bill, and no, it's not going there. So it's just to the County of Hawaii, not to the states.
Laura has her hand up.
Yes, Laura?
Aloha. This question is for Shalise. I'm just curious if you can disclose what community organizations and nonprofits you folks interviewed.
Can we disclose that?
There are stakeholders. I don't see a problem. Sherry, do you see a problem with that request?
No.
No? Yeah.
Okay. I will go. You just want to know the ones we've already completed, Laura?
Yes, and if you have intention to do more, it sounded like it was completed. But do you have intention to do more, or that phase is complete?
That's the 10% that's left of that particular phase.
Yeah, what the ones that you have interviewed and also intend to would be great, just so that we have an idea about the breadth of reach.
Absolutely. So we have, E2 has interviewed HER. They've also completed their interview with Zero Waste Hawaii and the owner of Hanuhau Recycling. The ones that are left are as follows: the Mr. K's Recycle and Redemption, Atlas Recycling, Business Services of Hawaii. They're also going to be interviewing DOE as it relates to school programs, current school programs. Kwan Group, Moana Community Gardens, the owner of Volcano Precious Plastics, ZWHI Cultural Advisor, PFI Rubbish, Curbside Collection, County of Maui and Kauai, as well as the City and County of Honolulu and Aloha Waste. Now, all of those are also, I mentioned quite a few, but all of those are also dependent upon their responsiveness. They have been reaching out, and out of the list that I just provided, only 7 or 8 are pending because they did respond. So I just want to be sure to put that caveat there, that we pretty much do a verbal, a written, a follow-up email, and then I ask the consultant to leave it at that because we don't want to stalk them. So that's the goal. That's the 10% that's left of the phase 2. Did I answer your question?
You did, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Shalise. As you know, we are trying to be as comprehensive as we can, as inclusive as we can, try to be transparent as we can. So if you all also have comments, we welcome that as well, as we've been saying it before the start of the study, because you're a major player into shaping the policies and procedure moving forward. So.
Okay. Any other comments on our questions on that? Okay. Well, we'll move on to the wastewater division projects and updates. The Pahala and Na'alehu. Thank you.
So, yeah, do we have the wastewater division? Chris? You may want to also give us an update on the ordinances that, it's funny, Georgiana's not here today, but she always asks that question at every meeting. So is she still signed up, or is she still at the airport, or is she took off?
She was at the airport.
Oh, well.
I think plane took off.
Probably on the plane now.
Okay, so why don't I delve into the latter first? So we've modified the ordinance to include the provisions for the pretreatment program. And at previous meetings, I tried to explain that, you know, the EPA says you need to have these things in your ordinance. So that's what I did. So there's not a lot of, in fact, there's no negotiation about that. So that's one part of it. And also I created and added to our administrative rules to cover the pretreatment requirements. So those are complete. I'm finishing up the package that we send to DOH to, in theory, they're supposed to approve them, but in practice, like at CCH, when I left there, we had a package in to them for review since 2015, I think, and they had yet to respond. So I don't expect them to comment on that, because again, it's prescribed by the feds. So that there really shouldn't be a lot of comment other than, hey, you missed this requirement. Okay, so then there are a bunch of other things that we want to change about the code. I gave Georgine a copy several months ago. She made some comments that she got back to me at the end of the year. I need to sit down with the directors and go over those changes, because a lot of them are, so some of them have to do with how much we charge for wastewater, but we're doing a wastewater rate study. So we may want to wait until that's complete before we change that. I don't know. So we have some issues like that. We also wanted to change the way we look at subdivisions to make it more consistent with the language that the state DOH uses, which is that there is a threshold above which you need to install a packaged wastewater treatment plant, or you need to connect to the county existing county system or extend. I think those are the major things we changed in there.
So you're waiting on a DOH to get back to you on these changes?
No, we're going to submit those, looks like first part of next week. So it's a whole package for the pretreatment program. It includes changes to the code plus some other things.
Okay. Are you, I'm just wondering, most of the committee members here haven't, or the commission members haven't seen the pretreatment program, or it's only gone as far as Georgine, and I was wondering, do we get a report or any kind of information on this?
So I'm going to defer to Sherry for a bit here, but I'm certainly happy to come in and give you guys a presentation on what a pretreatment program is, how we're going to phase ours in, and what it's going to cover.
Okay. Yeah.
You can ask him if he would be willing to do that, and then we can schedule with his schedule. Probably a meeting date would be next. Yeah. You think you'd be ready to do a short presentation in March, Chris?
Oh yeah, for sure. Probably need about 45 minutes.
All right, that sounds good.
Maybe 30. It's a lot of jargon, and we probably need to keep the pace slow.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Do anybody have any other comments on this section? Okay.
Sorry, I'm squinting because my sound is very low. I don't know why. Oh, okay. Got it.
Okay. So that
this is Commissioner McIntosh. I just had a quick question for the treating the subdivision. Is that new subdivisions going forward, or that would also include all the pre-existing subdivisions on the island?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So if you look at the section of the Hawaii Administrative Rules, it's 1162. I forget what section, and it looks like to me like they should have said, hey, for new subdivisions, here are the requirements. And then for existing subdivisions, here are the requirements. But they didn't. They kind of lumped them all together. So I think our opportunity is going forward. Hey, any new subdivision, we want a coherent, consistent approach. And we got to make it fair to all of the county residents, not just, you know, people who are developing the property, because wastewater is something you have to take care of. So I don't know about the existing. We're doing a lot of studies right now. We're doing a cesspool conversion plan. We're doing an integrated wastewater management plan. And those studies do look at the existing subdivisions, clusters of cesspools that it might make sense to convert to either a sewer extension or package plant or some other option.
Okay. Have we covered everything on the large capacity cesspool conversion closures?
We haven't talked about this yet. I think Chris, what he was talking about, the pretreatment program, that was under AOC. It has its own administrative order and consent, that pretreatment program. So what Chris was doing, giving you guys update on the pretreatment program that was under the current AOC with the County of Hawai'i.
Okay, so we
just ask for Ramsey to just give you a report on all of the wastewater projects. So he can just go through the list.
All right. Okay. What you're saying is we can
take the whole section 3 as a whole, and Ramsey or Chris can give you guys an update, and you can
that
ask
would be great.
Questions.
Yeah. All right.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. And I'll just give you an overview, and Chris could add to that. I just want to say our department have, for the last 2 years, as you all know, been working with EBA, Department of Health, to ensure that our wastewater infrastructure, our wastewater issues are covered when it comes to our current infrastructure and how we're going to move forward by improving site improvement, infrastructure improvement, and also continue providing services to our residents here within the County of Hawai'i. The department is doing multiple projects all at once and studies. So Chris, go ahead and give more of the details as showed on item number 3, please.
Okay, so what I know about the Pahala closure project, pardon me, is that we do have an AOC that's been signed by the mayor and EPA. So it needs to get past county council, and, you know, like prior discussion said, what's the choice there? They're going to execute it. So in my mind, it's a done deal. It commits us to close those cesspools by January 22nd, 2027. So there's a lot of work to get that done. We need to finish designing the packaged wastewater treatment plant that we're going to purchase and have installed. We've got to permit it. We've got to finish design of the new collection system, because the existing system is falling apart, and it's it's going to transmit too much water, not wastewater. So we're heavily focused on that. Nalehu, Ramsey, do we have a date
just
for that? That was in the AOC as well, right?
right. Let me just correction for Chris and the commissioner. The AOC for Pahala Nalehu was executed August 2022. So I think maybe it got confused with the countywide AOC that's going to go before County Council March 6th. So the Pahala Nalehu AOC has been executed August 22nd of 2022. So the work is in progress. We anticipate to meet the closure date of construction of January 22nd, 2027. And Nalehu is a year after that. So progress is staff in the process of selecting a consultant to design the packaged waste treatment units. And we're still waiting on more of a public tonight. I mean, Thursday night, we're going to have a Pahala public meeting to bring them up to speed on where we at as a department with EPA and Department of Health on the preferred option. And it seemed like 92% of the people that been attending the meeting in Pahala, they would like to see a wastewater treatment plan rather than IWSs. So the department and the administration had looked at the votes of the public within that community and committed to deliver on what the community want, which is a wastewater package units. So that's what's going on for Pahala Nalehu. As far as the Hilo waste treatment upgrade, we've been meeting with the consultants. We have 95% design complete. So it's going to go out on the street April 27, I believe, this year for advertisement. And we anticipate to issue notice to proceed no later than probably August, depending on the number of RFI that comes during the bidding process. But our intent to issue notice to proceed sometime this summer so we can start construction and hopefully get the ceremony and cutting ribbon to start rebuilding that Hilo because it really needs it. So we got commitment from the mayor, and I really appreciate Mayor Ross for his continuous support to this issue from day one. And we doing, like Laura said, you know, that Hilo needs TLC, and it's about time we're going to deliver that. It took us short time to turn around and put a project of this magnitude. You're talking about at least commitment of, you know, between phase 1 and 2 is going to be a huge commitment financially. So that, you know, we all look forward to it. So it's coming near you. Just keep an eye for the bidding process. Hopefully we get more contractors this time around, more competition. Last year we got one contractor. There's a handful of contractors that do wastewater in the state, but we also trying to put the word out. We've been going to conferences, talking to different people. So hopefully we'll have a better turnout this year, comes April. So item number 3, wastewater plans. As you all know, and I heard you earlier talking about the public engagement meeting that some of you have attended. These are meeting to address the integrated wastewater management planning. So what we're doing as a county, we're taking the lead. We are ahead of every county within the state. to create this comprehensive master plan, let's call it, for wastewater infrastructure, wastewater options, for cesspool conversion. So hopefully by the time this plan is done, you could insert your address or your TMK number, and it gives you the option of what you need to do to your cesspool conversion options. So you guys will have the tool, our residents will have the tool at their disposal to understand the extent of current wastewater facilities and the sewer service area that is going to be inclusive of these future development within that area, and the people that will have an answer of what they need to do outside these areas. In addition to that, we're going to cover some of the financial options. I just want to make it clear, because some of the discussion took place earlier, is that misconception that the county is doing the financing for these conversion. The county is not doing financing for these conversion. Cesspool are homeowners' responsibility. It's similar to upgrading your roof on your house, similar to upgrading your kitchen in your house. Cesspools are in your backyard. They get converted. If you don't have a sewer line fronting your property, then it's upon the homeowner to do the conversion. Department of Health oversees that. County does not have jurisdiction over septic or cesspool conversion. That's Department of Health. County's authority only if your house is fronting a wastewater or sewer line, then that become a county, it falls under the county. And under the county current codes and rules, each house that fronting a sewer line must connect within 180 days. So people with cesspool and they have a sewer lateral coming to the right of way, they need to connect. Once they need to convert, the conversion become connection to the system. So hopefully with that reports and study, we'll make it clear. And that's why we're doing the public engagement, to make sure that the dividends to our constituents is valuable. As you see, and there's a lot of legislation before the finance committees to kind of accelerate the conversion. I mean, I've seen some 2035, some 2044, or et cetera, and some 2050. Knowing that, hopefully that roadmap we're creating could give our constituents the option. They know their option. They don't have to wait till the 11:30. They could start planning now, especially when you go and get a permit from the Department of Public Works to do any house improvement. The Department of Health is going to require you to do conversion now. So with that plan, we're going to try to finalize by the end of this year. You don't have to spend the money twice to do conversion. At least now you have a clear direction. You will have a clear direction to what option you have, so you only spend the money once. If your house ends up falling within the sewer service area, then we're going to negotiate with Department of Health through memorandum of understanding that if each homeowner going after a permit, they don't need to do any conversion, because there's no reason to spend the money twice. So we're going to ask the Department of Health to give them a waiver till the county and the community bring the infrastructure into that sewer area. So that's why I encourage you, these meetings are not informational meetings. These meetings are set up for everyone to participate, submit comments, because eventually that's gonna be driving policies and procedures moving forward. So I heard earlier, some of you mentioned these meetings, it was informational. It was not informational. It was for you to participate as a community member That's why we go into different communities to give us your comments. Comment cards were handed at the meetings for comment submittals. So please don't look at it as, well, it's, you know, I heard Lee says something that they don't already know. Of course, you know it because you're in the commission, but a lot of our constituents don't know that. That's why we do in the meetings. So please take the comment card, submit comments, put the word out, because this is very important as we plan this. Eventually that become policies and procedure, and also will be in connection to the planning department as well to the 2045. So our goal is now it's the opportunity to speak out about how the wastewater infrastructure for the entire county is going to shape up to look like. So we created something that this county never had. The vision of the cesspool conversion master plan, multi-master planning, and the integrated wastewater management plan, all in one document that could give this administration and future administration a roadmap to tackle the wastewater issues within the county that include all facility planning. So we analyze every waste treatment plan on this county, analyzing it and looking at what we need from capital project improvement so we could financially be able to set a roadmap every fiscal year of when that project is going to take place. Without that vision, it become a lost cause. So we laying out the ground, we laying out the roadmap, and what is missing also is the resource allocation. So we feel good about the roadmap, the Appendix 1 in the AOC, and also looking at the collection and how we're going to start looking at the cesspool conversion. So these are great news. We feel that the County of Hawaii has, actually exceeded other counties. And I've been to conferences. Erica was there last week, and we feel very, very good about the County of Hawaii and the improvement that we've done, where others are looking at us now, how we were to achieve what we have achieved so far within that short distance. So that's good for the County of Hawaii, and we're gonna continue moving with that message to be able to place the County of Hawaii ahead when it comes to these wastewater issues and solid waste as well. So number two, that Pu'uko on South Kohala is the same thing as I just talked about. It's going to be part of that integrated wastewater management plan. I feel good about that because we actually have been working with American Water.
Hold up a second here. We're still here.
The camera has had enough.
I didn't know my voice was so strong that tilted the camera over.
Knock the camera off the table.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay. So we've been working with the community and American Water, trying to have American Water connect Pu'uko community to their treatment plan. And Lee, who operates the facility that was at the conference last week as well, him and I had a great discussion, lengthy discussion, and I feel he's 100% on board of connecting that community. So they teaming up with the community, they're working on the details. Hopefully that comes to fruition, because that'll be a great accomplishment if that connection takes place. Because as you all know, all that community on cesspool, that volute, that shoreline front of Pu'uko. So that's moving forward. Actually, probably is going to move forward in the agreements, hopefully before even the master plan is complete. But our consultant is working on the master plan in coordination with the integrated wastewater management plan. So it's all all of it linked together. Wastewater number 4. I'm moving fast because I'm gonna have to hit out soon. Wastewater rules status. That's what Chris Laude had given you guys, and he's gonna come back on March and give you a presentation on the rules, the admin rule. I mean the ordinances for the pretreatment. So item number 4. Information request to DM from commissioners, mulch. I think that was Dale, the one that brought that questions last time, and I think Craig has covered it, unless there's any other questions.
Yeah, Laura has a question.
Okay, go ahead, Laura.
Thank you, Director, for the updates and your report. I'm wondering if, in terms of the financial piece, especially if you could address Councilmember Holmes's comments in his testimony, especially in relationship to the financial plan and, you know, wastewater enterprise funds, and if you folks are following Oahu's lead, or if not, why not? Or
yeah,
his testimony.
No, thank you, Steve. It's good to see you. And thank you, Laura. Yes, there's a lot of moving parts. You know, as I said, this is a major improvement to what we started with and what other counties have as far as this major comprehensive roadmap, which is going to have a financial package attached to it. So the AOC, as we have stated, and our finance or managing director had stated during that committee hearing last week about the AOC, the county committed to finance the projects within Appendix 1 through state revolving funds, through general obligation bonds, and the finance department is taking the lead on that, and we're going to chase grants, SRF, and whatever we could put our hand on. Through that integrated waste management planning document, we also doing a rate study as we speak. So the rate study is going to be connected to all the facility planning, the maintenance projects. So currently we're in the process of collecting all information so we could project a better strategy of the financial planning and how to manage the rates and what the rates is going to cover, and also the major maintenance project and the capital improvement projects. Once we have all of that before us, then we'll have a better vision of what financial route we're going to take. There is currently the current financial structure for the wastewater is a special fund, so it's funded by the sewer rates. So it's similar to the enterprise fund because it has its own funding baskets. So you cannot take the money out of it. It's dedicated to providing the O&M for sewer. Currently, we charge about $45. It goes toward that special sewer fund, goes just to fund the sewer projects, the O&M for the wastewater. Unfortunately, this revenue is not enough because we don't have enough connections. So the integrated wastewater management planning and the sewer conversion planning is going to look at revenue generation to be able to be financially sustainable, to be able to prevent preventative maintenance rather than deferred maintenance. It's complicated, but we are collecting. The consultant is working on the direction that the department has given them to collect all that information so we can make the right decision moving forward on how to tackle that particular funding. But yeah, so there's a lot of moving targets. Once we have that information, you guys always going to be involved as we move forward. We still have a long way to have the draft of these reports so we could start sharing with you guys. But Laura, does that answer your question?
Well, I do just want to clarify that I'm understanding you correctly, that there will not be an enterprise fund methodology incorporated in the financial planning, and that basically homeowners then are will be left to pay for these conversions.
That's not what I said. I said we doing the studies. The enterprise fund is not a consultant thing. It's a policy and procedure.
Gotcha.
So the enterprise fund is probably going to come through county council or through ordinances or bills. So all we could do as a department, provide the data. We'll leave it up to legislative body to decide what funding mechanism it's good for the county. So yeah, I just want to make sure you understand that. I did not say that I'm not an authority to suddenly get my okay, thanks.
Okay, no, good. I'm glad I clarified. But and also and you clarified. Thanks.
All right.
Okay.
As far as anything else?
Has her hand up.
What's that?
Erica has her.
Oh, Erica has a question yet. Go ahead, Erica.
Yeah, I just wanted to really thank Ramsey again for all of the work that he and the DEM is doing right now. We as a county do stand out quite significantly on the amount of information that's being gathered and proposing different types of movement forward of how we can tackle sanitation. So I just really thank you for the due diligence and also just the time and commitment that you've put forth in this, Ramsey. It is very noticed across the state, I think. I just had a quick question. I heard you touch on it, and I just wanted to clarify the new financial studies that you are looking into. They are not going to clarify a way of how we can capture future O&M and emergency funds. Did I hear that correctly?
There's two things. One, the rate study, the consultant that we're working on the integrated waste management planning through the FACT planning for each facility and possibly the cesspool conversion within the sewer service area is going to identify the infrastructure, the capital projects. And from that capital projects, we could price them out and figure out there's two different funding, one to fund the capital projects and one set up the sewer rate study to do. So there's a rate study and there's a revenue aspect to the rate study and these projects. So the rate study is going to concentrate on the actual cost of service to provide the service to our constituents and be able to collect the rates that could sustainable financial stability to provide the O&M preventative rather than deferred. And that will give us a certain rates that we could project over time and figure out how we're going to get there. So that's going to be calculated. We're going to know exactly how much it costs to stay in compliance, to provide the O&M and avoid deferring maintenance for the life of the facility. So that has been.
So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic to hear. I do think that that's an issue, a current concern, an issue of how sanitation is managed, that the process right now doesn't capture that O&M into the future and doesn't capture emergency needs. And so I feel we're always kind of like backpedaling on making sure we get the emergency things done and can't look into the future. So I'm excited to hear that will be integrated and looked at into this plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was the rate study, right?
That was everything. Rate study, integrated waste management plan, and Puluka and South Kahala.
Okay.
And I think I'll finish even number 4. So is there's any other question for the department?
Any?
Yes, that's it.
What's, I'm sorry. Hold on a second.
Sure, Dorothy.
Request for addition to director's report, an item for status on existing staff vacancies. That one came from Dell, I think.
Yeah, this is one of the most challenging. They told me the next meeting is going to start at 12:30, so I have some times for you guys. So yes, staffing, please put the word out. If you know somebody that looking for a job, we're looking still for engineers. We're looking for compliance. We're looking for drivers. We're looking for so many positions that still within the department.
Operators.
Operators, certified operators. My challenge with that, thank you, Chris, for bringing the certified operators. I'm working with the legislative body to see if we could find an alternate. And maybe that's where we need to work together and get you guys also submit letters to our elected officials to look at the current process of getting certified wastewater operators. The state requires them to be certified through an exam. There's existing operators, they committed to the hours, they've been in the business for a long time, but they freeze when they take an exam. And a lot of people just hate to take exams. So I'm trying to figure out if we could amend the current state rule to allow the certification through accredited units through the universities, like a crash course, where the operators attend a week crash course, and then the end of that week, they get handed a certification by the university. It's accredited university. These people put the hours, so I think that one piece of paper is not going to make them smarter than the one that don't have it. So I highly recommend that we, with the support of the commissioners and even our council members, and Laura, we need your support as well. Your contact to get that thing moving. And we live in a state surrounded by water. We're not on the mainland. We need to start looking at things differently. Outside the box solutions, we have to create it. We cannot be in a box with the status quo. So we need to change the habits of looking at things to be able to grow with them. We have very qualified candidates, but like I said, exams become an obstacle. So we need to allow our own people within the island to grow. So we're gonna continue recruiting and retaining and maintaining. It's a challenge. It's not an easy task. But hopefully you guys keep putting the word out. Erica could testify to that. I started my presentation last week with a room full of audience, people standing outside the door. The first thing I started with, the county is recruiting. So yeah, please put the word out.
Are you recruiting from mainland at all, or are you is it just local people that you're looking at?
It's everywhere. It's we have it on LinkedIn. We have it in the County of Hawaii, put it on the website. Yes, we have candidates from the mainland that started with us. And it just, sometimes we go through that. Some of them, they commit and they our HR person, she actually came from the mainland. And she was a director for the HR department somewhere on the mainland. So yes, we've been targeting whoever qualifies need to apply. All right.
Del, do you have a question?
Yeah, I want to thank you, Ramsey, for that. And for the report, your director's report. You know, I got a lot of clarification from that. And looking at the staffing, when I was looking at the county website for the solid waste division, we have one acting chief, which is Christopher Lott. That's the only position that shows up. And then with the solid waste, we've got acting positions for division chief, deputy division chief, and acting recycling coordinator. So my question is, you know, if those positions have been in that acting capacity for how long, then maybe we should be filling those positions. And I know you know, I'm just wondering how the recruitment is going for those positions, because I can only imagine that the people acting are also doing their jobs beside that. So that can be very taxing and compromising to operations. So that's always been my concern. And I know I've talked to the university, the vocational, and they have internship programs, 5 different ones. So I think, again, maybe the county should be actively talking to them. And I know you have a new HR. You mentioned that in August. And then, so I'm just, you know, you folks have done a great job. And the people you have working for you, you know, that's testament to the success that's having now. But it could be better if we fill those key positions.
Yeah,
that's all.
No, I agree, Del. And let me give you updates on these. The solid waste acting chief position, we are working. If you heard my testimony to the committee last time on the countywide AOC, the department is looking at reorganizing the department to be able to achieve the AOC requirements. So currently, we have the Division of Solid Waste, the acting chief, the chief position should go out for recruitment. We were changing some of the language within that job description to allow for better selection for that particular chief position. As you know, we went through 2 different chiefs recently for the solid waste division, and it didn't work out. So we want to make sure we strengthen we went back and looked at the requirement. We figured try how we could cater that requirement to be able to deliver the duties that required from that position. So there's a lot of, especially in the solid waste division, people want to see more recycling, diversion, composting, all of that. So we need to make sure we get somebody on that position could deliver to our constituents. We're not going to have somebody for the sake of filling that position, right? So that's number 1. So we're working on that. It's going to go out, because otherwise you're going to have somebody is going to come in and is going to frustrate everybody else, and we're not going to go anywhere. So that should go out soon to fill the permanent. Hopefully, we'll keep our finger crossed. We get a good response to fill that position. The compliance manager within the solid waste, it's a new position. So we're working with Department of Health to set the job duties, because it doesn't exist. It doesn't even exist in the whole state. So once you create these new job classification, there's a lengthy time to go through the Department of Human Resource, then you have to go through the union, then you have to agree on the job descriptions and the salary range. So it's not like, okay, we got a vacancy, let's go ahead and fill it. I wish it was that easy. Go ahead.
No, thank you. So, but the positions are already there before. So those qualifications for those positions before, which was actual.
Not the compliance. The compliance manager is brand new position. The county never had.
Yeah, so thank you. But like for all the recruitment and posting for positions like division chief, deputy division chief, recycling coordinator, they already had set qualifications and requirements, right? Could we not use that as a recruitment tool to have people do that instead of maybe trying to look to redo the language when
no, that's what I was explaining. As far as the division chief is going to go out, the division chief, like I said, we went through 2 division chiefs within the solid waste. So that's why we're making sure that the new recruitment should be, I should check with DHR, should go out sometime within the next week or 2.
Oh, good.
But there's no vacancy on the deputy chief for solid waste, just to make it clear. Solid waste deputy chief is Mike Kaha. He's acting chief as we speak. So the solid waste, you have only 1 vacancy, which is the solid waste chief. That's it. And the recycling coordinator, but we don't have a vacancy for deputy chief.
But is there such a position? Because if the acting
it's held by Mike Kaha is the deputy chief for solid waste, but he's acting as a chief currently, and Gene is acting as a deputy chief.
Okay, so I guess I'm just saying those positions, deputy division chief and division chief, are actual positions that are not, they're only in an acting capacity. So are there no such a thing as, I guess it's just, if they're acting in that position, then there is such a position as a division chief and a deputy division chief. So by them, but those are not
1 vacancy. Let me explain to you. So Mike Kaha is the permanent deputy chief.
Okay.
Gene is a compliance engineer. So once we had the vacancy for the division chief, we moved Mike Kaha to be acting chief, and we moved Gene to become the deputy chief. So once we filled that chief position, if none of these people apply to it, then Mike Kaha goes back to become the deputy chief. Gene will become the compliance engineer for his old position. And then the new chief would take on the role of the division chief.
I guess my question is then, if they're acting in those positions, then who's doing their job? It's kind of.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so they multitasking. I'm helping myself. I'm wearing multiple hats as well. So I'm jumping with them and helping them in that chief position, making the decision, meeting with them on daily basis. So till we make sure that we fill these vacancies. Like I said, if you know somebody qualified for the division chief, please put it out because we need as many as we can.
Oh, thank you. You folks are doing a great job, and because of the people you have. So I just wouldn't want to overwhelm them, you know, with all these multiple responsibilities. It's kind of.
I agree. Believe me, it's. I know. I myself, you know, I just, you know, keep thanking him every day for help being there. Very dedicated, hardworking. And we just had a retreat between senior staff and us, whatever, you know, we're going to deliver what we got till we build up the team.
No, but thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that great question. There's one last thing on the agenda was the mulch program overview. Do we have anything to say on that?
I think that question came from Dell last time. Is there anything pertaining to that? Craig online as well, if you guys have a question pertaining to that.
No, his report was good. Thank you, Greg.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just, it's always, are they bringing back mulch? Maybe not as often as, we would want it, like it should be, but at least on a kind of regular basis, a couple times a week or something, just to have mulch brought back from West Hawaii to East Hawaii. That was kind of it. But thank you for the report. Looks good.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions that you can ask? I think we're done. Thank you for all your information, Ramsey. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So for future agenda items, just the
creation of the permitted interaction group, if that is what you folks would like to do at this time. You can open it up for a discussion on that creation, and then we can get a motion to formally establish it.
Okay. That was which group?
So Erica had expressed an interest previously in creating a permitted interaction group to work on, EMC, basically advising EMC on the status of cesspool conversions.
Mm-hmm.
And so if Erica wants to give a little bit more information about what she would like to do in this permitted interaction group, and then we can talk about the formation of it.
Could you do that, Erica?
Yeah, I find value in all of these reports that are coming to the surface. And I think that Dell brought up a really great, a great point in that we're in these quick meetings when we have so much to go over, we don't really get a chance to dive into the really technical questions and take a closer look at what is being either proposed or even outside of this legislative session at the state level with cesspool conversion and overall sanitation. I feel there's going to be more in-depth conversations that are needed in order for the EMC to appropriately either advise or even think through these processes and determine whether we should or should not support certain items. So I do feel that it would be very valuable to create a permitted interaction group that is focused on, honestly, not just cesspool, but overall sanitation improvements for Hawaii County. There's a lot on the plate right now, just as we heard from Ramsey, with all of these reports and community initiatives that are being launched. And it would offer, I think, another additional space to possibly just be able to do a little bit more with good clarity.
You have a motion?
I do. Unless further discussion is needed, I'm happy to make that. Should I wait and see if more discussion is needed?
Any discussion needed?
Do we need who is going to sit on this pig as part of the before we do this, or can I make a motion and then we determine after the motion and after we know that the pig will be formed?
So make the motion to create a permitted interaction group that will focus on cesspools and sanitation. Will prioritize cesspools and sanitation. And the motion needs to be seconded. And during the discussion, we can see who wants to volunteer to be a part of it.
Great. This is Commissioner Perez. I make a motion to bring forth a permitted interaction group that focuses on cesspool conversion and future sanitation needs and what the EMC can offer.
I second.
Any discussion?
I have a question. Is the PIG specifically, or is it only commissioners, or is the public also, or stakeholders also involved in the PIG potentially?
So the permitted interaction group is specifically for commissioners. You are the one who's going to be charged with, you know, researching and meeting and providing reports back to EMC at these open meetings. Now, you are permitted to talk to, obviously, people who are involved with this when you talk about community members, but they are not a part of the permitted interaction group. That is specifically just for the commissioners. But where you do your research and where you get your information from would essentially come from those people, those groups that you just previously mentioned, Laura, if that makes sense. That's part of the research that you will do.
Jim, do you have a comment or question?
Just clarification, if the PIG were to request a presentation by a citizen, would that be allowed?
A presentation just to the group or to EMC as a whole?
Just to the group, just to the PIG members.
That is permitted, provided that information is documented and put into the report that the group will thereafter bring back to EMC.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. No other comments? Do we have
volunteers?
Volunteer.
Who would like to be on in this group?
Okay, do we first need to ask the motion? No. Okay, volunteers?
We need to know who's going.
Recognize the volunteers.
Yes, recognize Eric Perez, Jim Beats, Laura Casio, and Del. I'm sorry, Osaka.
Erica, Jim, Laura, and Del. Okay, that's the maximum we can have, so no more volunteers.
Okay, that's it. All right.
Ready for roll call votes?
Roll call vote.
Mr. Casio.
Aye.
Mr. Beats.
Aye.
Mr. Garcia absent. Mr. McIntosh.
Aye.
Ms. Otsuga.
Aye.
Ms. Perez.
Aye.
Aye. Vice Chair Norris.
Aye.
Aye. Chair Adams absence. Chair, you have 6 ayes. Motion carries.
Motion carries. Okay.
Perfect. So the last thing we need to do is let the group know that they're going to be a part of the agenda going forward to provide any updates. And I think setting that first report should be in 60 days. So this is February, March. At our April meeting, please have a report of what you've gathered thus far. And then a determination at that meeting will be made whether to close this group and or create another one going forward, or if the work of this group is not done, and the commission will continue to allow this permitted interaction group to continue. It's not something that just stays in perpetual existence. So
okay, all right.
Does the, sorry, I have a question. Does the presentation have to follow like one meeting after? Discussion has to follow one meeting after this presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would just be a report on the status of whatever you folks have gotten thus far in that 60-day time frame. And then a discussion with the entire commission about that will be had at the in the May meeting.
May meeting. All right. Any other?
Can I ask a quick question? I'm so sorry. Can I ask a quick clarifying question on that? So Is there a way to be able, like, if we wanted to extend it for the duration of DEM engaging the community and finalizing these reports so that we as an EMC commission have eyes, on these versions of reports that are coming through? Is there a way to do that? Or is it that every single meeting we're going to have to report and then redetermine if we continue? It's just a little bit different than what how the state, I think, group operated.
Yeah, so you folks could determine that more work needs to be done and you're gonna continue what you're doing. But it's just that I'm requesting that a report, an update be provided in 60 days because we need to maintain a status of what this group is doing.
Okay.
It doesn't
Makes
need
sense. Thank you so much.
It's not going to end in 60 days, but we need to have an update because it's not something that will just have a perpetual existence. Okay.
Okay. Any other items that need to go on the next agenda? Laura?
Aloha, I am wondering if we could get a presentation from Waiakea Water, if that's possible, or maybe I should reach out to them directly and ask, but I just wanted to double check the protocols. I'm hearing in the community that they have plans for a recycling plant, but having difficulty finding out information about that, and figure it would be better to come directly from them if they are, and if they have plans, and where is it at?
So if you want someone to do a presentation to at a meeting, then you would reach out to them and see their availability, and then let Peter know and Georgine to put it on the calendar. Because if they're not available for, say, March's meeting, but they are available for April, you just need to let Peter and Georgine know that that's what your request is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no other items on the agenda. I would call adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Anyone opposed?
Okay.
Who made the motion?
Me. Laura.
Yeah, I motion.
Second.
All right. Thank you very much. You guys have a good day.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you.